Okay, we are back in Triangle Strategy. Last time we discovered the secret of the mines, and what's the fallout, you ask? Let's find out.
Deep in the Grand Nozellian mines lay a most unexpected discovery. Crystals of pure salt. Now in possession of knowledge that could alter the course of history in Norzellia, the members of House Wolford gather at Whiteholm Castle to discuss their next move.
Chapter 17, Part 1, If Griefs Could Passions Move.
Unexpected though it may be, the salt crystals are now ours. How shall we proceed?
Carefully, for it has the potential to alter the balance of power across Norzellia. This is an opportunity to reshape the realm to our benefit. We must be strategic.
It's a target on our backs is what it is. There'll be no peace for us so long as we hold them.
Hyzant will set upon us with a fury we've never known if they hear of this.
She's right. They will stop at nothing to defend their faith.
Nor will Esfrost go quietly into the night.
Then let us prepare for when word does spread, rather than fret over how long we can keep the secret. Whether we protect the salt as ours, or find another way to use it, we must act soon.
What say you, Your Majesty?
We find ourselves at a crossroads. Not just as a kingdom, but an entire realm. Our decision will touch every life in Norzellia. I too wish to act quickly. But I beg you all for a moment alone with my thoughts.
Your caution is admirable, but ill-advised. Hesitation could cost us everything.
That much is obvious. Yet I cannot race headlong into the unknown when so much depends upon us.
Benedict, I find myself unmoored as well. I wish to hear from all present before we decide upon a course of action.
As you wish. Pray let it be swift.
Serenoa, answer me this. Can I count on you to walk the path with me, whatever it may be?
I was named Lord of House Wolford long before I was inducted into the Saintly Seven. And I've been your friend even longer still.
Say no more. Take the others to Castle Wolford and await my word. Likewise, inform me of any movements from Hyzant.
As you wish. Until we meet again.
Okay, we're not going to waste any time, just jump straight into the mental battle, assuming they still offer those here. So there's a total of 3 events we're going to need to look at. But yeah, I'm surprised I went up to Chapter 17 for this route. I have 67 accolades, or kudos. I'm probably going to keep calling them accolades. Lots of people use Spider Silk, apparently. So I have 40,000. Basically going to grab 2 of each of these. We're still above 30. In terms of accessories... Oh, so yeah, he does have some new stuff here that just wasn't here before. So we have the HP bracelet, which makes you immune to poison. The match one, which makes you immune to silence. That's a must-have. I'm not going to equip any of these just yet. This is for Granny Knuckles, of course. Okay. Those, I figure, are the must-haves. I'm assuming this has something to do with his Slumber Strike move. Are we able to see how much constricting that costs? Because was that 2, or does that just make it free to use? Yeah, if you remember, he's one of my highest level guys now. Where's he? Down here. Yeah, I think personally I like the traps better just because it completely shuts out the enemy turn if you can get them positioned correctly. We'll go down the list, see who needs what that we actually are able to provide. For Cyrano, I kind of want this one for counterattacking purposes. It's just it really sucks. It goes from 2 superior to 10 superior for the next skill. Largely because, I mean, let's face it, there's only 3 skills here compared to the others that have 5. I'm also not sure if I want to get the delaying strike boost. I was reading online that almost everyone prefers the additional range on Hawk Dive. It's just, as I mentioned before, I like using Serenoa as a wall, even though he got mowed down really, really fast last time. We'll have to see if that can change any. This is the hard part, because having him zip around a little bit more could be really beneficial. Like, if he gets high points, high TP, I think I'd rather use now or the 2-turn thing rather than his 1 instance of invulnerability. Going for this one so I can just try to obliterate stuff with fireballs. Oh crud, I never actually got that one. Okay, we need to go grab 2 quality fiber. I thought she had that already, which is why I didn't... That answers some of my questions about that fight in the mines. So I'm going for the Blazing Chain just to make sure that it's a nuke, get her basically snowballing, and that was the correct screen, so let's go back. Magic up, Miraculous Light. This is tough because she's really hamstrung by her mobility. Air door. He's as good as we're going to get him. We need to upgrade her weapons still. This is probably the next thing I need to get, just so I can have her assassinate stuff even better than normal. I need 6 fiber to get him in that position. Now for Travis, I would prefer to upgrade these before this because I'm trying to farm stuff with Mug rather than just outright butcher crap. I'm probably going to need this upgrade more just so I can try to steal stuff because I'm assuming that affects the steal chance. I do need to get him up soon. For her, I think I'll probably get this one next. Yeah, I don't think it really matters which of these I go for. Generally with him, I think utility is going to be the way to go. So I will go ahead and grab just defense up. Would love to get this for the geyser, it's just really hard to stack fiber. I also need that. Like, he needs a lot of stuff to come online, but I think if you can get all of them, he actually will be a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, I don't know what to expect with her. And I do need to stop being cheap with him. No comment with her. Okay, let's toss out those new accessories we just got. So, Frederica... I'm willing to take the ice weakness, I think. So Granny should evade half the stuff coming her way. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave her as is. I need to give that luck thing to Travis, so where's he at? There he is. I'm just curious if that's going to affect the steal rate. If it does, we'll work with it. If not, then yeah. I may want to put this on Archie because his bow attack is pretty nasty in general. I've only tried to use his other stuff as kind of like a... I don't even know the way to describe it. Like, supposedly Inescapable Arrow is pretty good, it's just we don't have that yet. I'm also going to take this off her. I want to bring Narv to this next fight, so I will go ahead and give him the I don't know if I want to give him the speed bracelet or not. We'll give him that one. I'm just going to give her the Vanguard Scarf because she was using it for the longest time. I'm going to give him the Speed Bracelet. And the reasoning for that is just to see if I can mug more. Would like to get a better speed item for her. So yeah, we'll stop there and get into the mental fight now. Okay, there actually isn't one. Okay, off camera I did one of the mental battles just to try to level up some of the people. So you can see Hasabara is up there with Roland. Lionel got blown away on the first turn, so he actually didn't get to do anything in that fight. But even Pigoletta, Narv, all of them are up to speed now. So we actually have a pretty well-rounded force for the time being, like we can call upon a lot of them. I also did upgrade Quarantin's Frost Breath, I think it is. I wanted his AoE one so I could throw out more ice tiles. Now we do have a pair of character events that I got from the Conviction during the fight, so we're going to do those real quick.
Master Archibald, is there something on your mind?
Goddess be good. I must be getting on in years for you to be able to sneak up on me like that.
What troubles you?
I was only reminiscing. Indeed, days like these tend to blow my mind back a couple of decades or more.
Reminiscing about what?
The Salt Iron War. Hard to believe it's been 30 whole years. Some days I almost forget my time as one of the Saintly Seven. I defended the Citadel of Sand through the conflict. I was there when Frost attacked. A number of Rosellan prisoners who tried to escape the Source were there too. Including Our Lady Frederica's dear mother.
What's this?
She stayed behind all by herself to help the countless numbers of her fellow Roselle flee. That's how she was captured. But I knew we couldn't hold the Citadel. So I helped her and her friends escape in secret before the enemy attacked. The wind blew just as hard that night as it's blowing now. I'll never forget watching the Roselle, caked all over in mud as they slipped away into the dark.
So you didn't want innocents to get caught up in the coming battle?
It never settled right with me. The way the goddess's teachings permitted abuse of the Roselle for the supposed sins of their past. A person's life isn't worth more or less just because of the conditions of their birth. But more than anything, I was moved by the selfless acts of Lady Frederica's mother. She reminded me of what I had once aspired to be. She was able to do what I never could. Risk her life to save her friends. I couldn't let someone like that die. Not on my watch. It wasn't long until the other Saintly Seven discovered what I'd done. They branded me a traitor, stripped me of my title, and sentenced me to death. Of course, I slipped out of their clutches before they could have my head. I wandered for a while before taking up life as a merchant under the King of Glenbrook's patronage.
I never knew you and Lady Frederica's mother shared such a past.
Well, it is in the past. Anyway, let us return. This cold night wind is making my old bones ache something fierce.
And now Groma's turn. Guess the old folks are all reminiscing at the same time.
You there! This is no place for strangers. Be gone from here.
So, the rumors were true. There are Roselle here.
From Hyzant, are you? I'll be damned if I go back to your stinking salt pit. It's been 30 years. We want only to live in peace.
30 years? Were you at the Citadel of the Sands during the war, perchance?
I was. How did you know? I was but a child at the time. We had fled from servitude, but the army quickly tracked us down. We were forced to.
So some did survive. Please, forgive me.
What got into you all of a sudden?
Long ago, I served as General of Frost. It was I who razed the Citadel to the ground and burned your countrymen alive. Words of apology will not even begin to atone for my deeds. Yet I give them anyway. I am sorry.
Knowing the danger, you came all the way out here to say that?
I had to know if any of you lived.
Raise your head. It is true that I lost my father when we fled servitude at the Source. My people still bear the wounds from that war. Wounds that may never heal. But not one of us perished in the flames that day.
What did you say?
It is true that we were being kept prisoner in the Citadel jails that day. But we were set free before the fire spread. To this day, I can scarce believe it. But the commander himself personally gave the order, and worked together with our leader to see that we were ushered to safety.
A general of Hyzant freed you? But why?
To this day, I still remember his words. A person's life isn't worth more or less just because of the conditions of their birth. Who is to say what was in his heart? All I know is that it is by his mercy that we are alive today. Many of my people live together in villages. Others, like my family and I, have chosen to live on our own.
None of you died at the Citadel that day. That can't be possible.
But it is, and I'm living proof.
I dared not dream. Oh, thank heavens.
There's no need for tears.
To think there was such a compassionate soul in Hyzant's ranks. If this man still lives, I would express my gratitude to him in person.
As would I. Sadly, I do not even remember his name.
At any rate, I feel as if a great burden has been lifted. And yet my true battle has only begun. And I will not rest until this world is one where people need no longer suffer the horrors of war.
A bit idealistic, no? I reckon that only bloodier days are ahead.
I know this better than anyone, boy. And yet I mustn't give up hope. At long last, my conscience is clear, and I fight with newfound purpose for the hope of a brighter future.
These would actually have, like, a little bit of emotional force, or whatever you want to call it, if you could actually play out the scenario rather than getting this little 3-4 minute blurb of what exactly happened. Like, if there were just like character side quests, sub-stories or something like that where you're reenacting the assault or something, that would probably get me a little bit more invested in it, but as is, I'm barely even paying attention to those things. And I'm assuming the general that they're referring to is Archie, the member of the Saintly Seven. Anyway, Central Esfrost, changing of the lines, or changing of the times spares no one, and now you're in the Norzelia Consortium. They also need a better font.
Have you heard the popular rumor, Lord Claris?
That Hyzant intends to raise an army against Glenbrook? Yes, I am familiar.
So it's reached the Consortium then. Is it true?
King Roland has only just reclaimed the Crown City with Hyzant's help, not to mention restored relations with them. Ordinarily, such a thing would be unthinkable, but the rumors are so persistent that I think something may be afoot.
For example?
I wouldn't be so restless if I had an example to give.
Esfrost gathers its troops at Twinsgate. Might they have heard the rumors as well?
Perhaps. A battle for the very soul of Norzelia may loom on the horizon. But therein lies the opportunity for merchants like us. You can't wage war without a surfeit of supplies.
You're quite right about that.
And each shift in Norzelia's power balance opens new business opportunities.
Will the Consortium continue trading with Hyzant?
'Tis difficult to say. I believe House Wolfort's actions from here on will be key to the Consortium's decision.
House Wolfort, you say?
Indeed. They've been involved in most every conflict between the three nations on this continent. Why stop now? I shall wait and see how Lord Serenoa responds first. lest I make any hasty decisions.
So if you don't remember Claris, he's the guy who ran the underground fighting arena. So at Twinsgate, Gustave gathers the troops at Twinsgate and rallies them by revealing that the Grand Norzelian mines and salt crystals have been taken from Esfrost.
I am gladdened to see each and every one of you, my ironclad brothers in arms, here at Twinsgate. I have asked you here to tell you of a most fortuitous discovery. We have found crystals of salt deep in the Grand Norzelian mines. Alas, Glenbrook has taken those very mines from us. What's worse, Glenbrook's esteemed House Wolfort is led by one of the saintly seven of Hyzant. They will no doubt be informed of the salt crystals, and their precious religion will be shaken to its core. I trust you can all imagine how Hyzant will respond to such an affront. They will not go quietly, but will instead seek the crystals for themselves, that their reign of terror may continue unimpeded. Therefore, we must subdue Glenbrook and seize the mines for Esfrost if we are to counter this grave threat. But we cannot stop there, for that will only draw Hyzant to our gates. They will stop at nothing to conquer all of Norzelia in their name. The Duchy has never been in a more precarious position. But we will not yield. We subscribe to no faith, and we bend the knee for no king. We shall greet our enemies at Twinsgate with cold, hard steel. Our newest weapon, the Death's Knell, is nearly complete. With it, we shall strike back at Hyzant. The false goddess shall crumble beneath the sheer force of our iron will, and Hyzant reduced to rubble along with her. Raise your swords, my black iron heroes. Your names shall be cast in iron when the histories of this day are written. You shall be known as the defenders of Esfrost. For Esfrost!
Oh yes. The Death's Knell will reduce many a falsehood to rubble, dear Gustadolf.
Yep. And now all that's left is the Hierophant's Palace. Ward of the salt crystals within the Grand Norzelian mines reaches the Hierophant's Palace.
Ah, Milo has sent a dispatch from Glenbrook. Deep within the Grand Norzelian mines lies... It would seem salt crystals were found within.
Impossible! Does she mean salt can be found outside the source?
Yes, but we were well aware of that. Rosellan legends tell us as much.
Well, no one told me of these legends.
This is not about you. By the Hierophant's decree, not even the Saintly Seven are to be told of the goddess's works.
The discovery of salt outside the source explains Gustadolf's recent provocations.
How can you be so calm? The teachings tell us that salt is a blessing, bestowed only upon the goddess's followers. The discovery of these salt crystals is an existential threat to Hyzant.
Salt crystals are salt too. We need only keep word of this discovery from spreading.
Of course. But how?
The Hierophant has spoken. Minister Exham, you shall raise an army and seize the Grand Norzelian mines in Hyzant's name.
The Hierophant asks us to invade Glenbrook?
Do you have another way to silence King Roland and his royal hounds in House Wolfort?
Minister Serenoa is one of us, and thus is honor-bound to heed the Hierophant's word. But we know not if he will do so, or if he will cast his lot with his precious king. You shall ask him yourself when you surround Castle Wolfort en route to the mine.
And if he resists?
You are free to deal with him, as we do with all who forsake the goddess.
Not ominous or anything. So what do we have? Exploration, a vote.
Hyzant has learned of the salt crystals. Minister Exham of the Saintly Seven wastes no time in mustering his army, which now marches on the Grand Norzelian mines. Elsewhere, Gustadolf amasses his own forces at Twinsgate in anticipation of the war to come. All eyes are on Glenbrook, where Roland and Serenoa's pronouncement could touch off a battle for the soul of Norzelia. After much deliberation, Roland makes his way to Castle Wolfort to inform Serenoa of the decision that now weighs heavy on his heart.
So, looks like it's just more scenes. I'm gonna look to see if there's a mental battle. If not, we gotta turn around and leave. That sucks. So I think the first mental battle in New Game Plus is level 30. At Castle Wolfort, Roland visits Wolfort and tells Serenoa of his decision.
I appreciate you coming all this way, Roland.
I was the one who asked for your time, so it is only natural I make the journey. I wish to tell you that I finally made up my mind.
And I would hear your decision if you were willing to share it with me.
I've long pondered over the one thing that Norzelia needs most. I thought back on the Salt Iron War. 30 years have passed, yet the root of our conflict remains the same. Each nation still thinks only of itself, wishing to fill its coffers even at the expense of others. But who bears the brunt of such a war?
The people.
Exactly so. The avarice of the ruler is an existential threat to their loyal subjects.
And yet without that wealth, the people suffer just as much. They languish in poverty.
This much is obvious. But there can be no winner without a loser. Remove one, and you necessarily remove the other. If we achieve equality, we achieve peace.
And how do you propose we achieve? No. No, surely you don't mean...
Yes. The goddess's teachings. All can live as equals under the goddess. An authority greater than any king. The model nation was in front of us all along, Serenoa. The holy state of Hyzant. I have decided that we must give the salt crystals in the Grand Norzelian mines to Hyzant.
And in so doing, you'll give them control of all Norzelia.
Exactly. There will be no more squabbling over salt. Norzelia will know eternal peace at last.
Unequal peace, surely. One built on the backs of a people like the Roselle, if not the Roselle themselves.
I am not blind to that fact. But so few will suffer for the good of so many. Nothing in this world is perfect, Serenoa. The sacrifice of the few for the good of the many. It's the only clear answer, and one I would give every time I were asked.
Submitting to the goddess will rob you of your kingship.
So be it. My crown, my pride. They're but small prices to pay for peace.
You are truly prepared to throw it all away.
Join me, Serenoa. Let us unite Norzelia under the Holy State.
Roland, this is quite sudden.
I understand. Pray, take all the time you need. I expect Frederica will want nothing to do with this plan, seeing as it forsakes her people. I am already mourning the rift this may cause between you. But I shall not be swayed. This will be my final act as Glenbrook's king.
So if you heard, never mind, I'll get to that in a moment.
King Roland's anguish plays plainly across his face. It pains me to see him so tortured.
I am not surprised. The future of our kingdom, to say nothing of the entire continent, rests upon his shoulders.
Pray tell, what do you intend to do about the salt crystals?
In truth, I cannot decide. Salt is too precious to be hoarded. We've a duty to share it with the people, which is...
Where the difficulty lies, yes. The source makes that all too clear. Salt lies at the heart of every war in Norzelia.
Would that the boundless salted sea of Rosellan legend still existed. We'd have no need of conflict if there were a source of salt for all.
My love, if I may, the discovery of the salt crystals has made two things plain to me. The first is that my mother spoke true in the legend she passed on to me.
And the other is that the goddess's teachings are nothing more than a lie built to constrain your people.
Just so. We are guilty of nothing. Yet the Roselle languish in the source, where they are looked down upon and forced to work until they die. Entire generations lost, countless lives given to Hyzant's cruelty. Cruelty created to justify Hyzant's own avarice and lust for power.
Such is the ugly lie at the heart of their teachings.
One revealed by a crystal of the mineral they hold so dear. The time has come, Serenoa. The Roselle must be freed. The salt crystals have brought us to the brink of war. We can harness this unrest, incite the Roselle to rise up and rebel against their captors.
I am with you. Believe me, I am. But you make it sound so...
Simple. Yes, I know. But the suffering of my people is so distant for everyone else. We can no longer wait for someone to do the right thing. Help isn't coming. Why else would my own mother incite rebellion? We are alone.
I swear to you, none of this feels distant to me. The Roselle live in my domain. I am betrothed to you, my dear. It couldn't feel any closer.
And I thank the stars that I have you by my side. I do. In truth, that's why I think this time will be different. Why I'll be able to accomplish what my mother could not.
I agree. But the risk is immense. Suppose we succeed, what then? Hyzant will not let us go quietly.
Of course not.
And when that time comes, you can lead the Roselle to Centralia, just as your mother wrote about in the book she left behind. Beyond the Great Falls and the Folk's domain at the end of the Norzelia River, the ancestral home of the Roselle.
But that's just a legend.
We've already found one legend to be rooted in truth. Perhaps this one is as well. And if not, at least you'll be safe from harm.
I doubt Benedict will share our feelings, though. Abandoning all we've built to embark on a journey fraught with danger in search of a legend. Yet no matter how perilous the path ahead, I would happily walk it at your side.
I trust you understand what a monumental effect the discovery of these salt crystals will have on Norzelia's history. Whatever course of action we choose will determine whether House Wolfort leaves a legacy in that history, or is expunged from it.
How would you proceed, Benedict?
I would do all I could to keep it from falling into Hyzant's hands. They already control the source. With the crystals in hand, they will solidify their grip on the realm and in time dominate it. The siren song of a false equality under their goddess shall blanket the land, claiming every domain and its people.
Even though they count me among the Saintly Seven?
Even then, for that matters little when the equality they espouse is dictated by the goddess, or should I say, the Hierophant. In the end, they will have the same life and death control over all Norzelia that they now hold over the Roselle.
And our wounds from the battle with Esfrost have only begun to heal. Hyzant will destroy us if we wage war against them in our current state.
But they stand little chance against us if we ally with Esfrost.
Ally with Esfrost? Are you of sound mind, Benedict?
Quite. Think about it for a moment. Esfrost wants nothing more than to loosen Hyzant's grip. They will go to war if it means control of the salt crystals.
Our interests are broadly aligned, yes, but...
Esfrost has been building toward precisely that purpose for some time now.
You speak of the Death Knell, the weapon that Cordelia mentioned.
Precisely. A weapon capable of reducing the goddess's shield to rubble, leaving Hyzant's capital ripe for the taking. Without that weapon, we cannot win. You need only say the word, and I shall convince Esfrost to join our side.
I appreciate your candor, Benedict, and I do not doubt you could secure Esfrost's cooperation. But I fear the harder fight is within our own domain. King Roland's heart will not be easily won.
I bid you listen closely and calmly to what I'm about to ask.
Coo!
From whence this somber tone?
Do you believe King Roland is fit to rule?
What are you implying?
Decorum is of little use when the fate of our realm is at stake, Lord Serenoa. Are you content to spend the rest of your life in servitude to another?
Not another word, Benedict. Roland is more than my king. He is my friend.
And you are Lord of House Wolfort, whose military prowess is known to all Norzelia. Not the guard dog of Glenbrook and Hyzant. What else are you here to do, if not to protect your house and keep its banner aloft? But you have the potential for so much more. All Norzelia could be yours if you but desired it.
Treason, if not outright regicide. These are your suggestions.
Of course not. The blood in your veins and the royal family's ring are claim enough to the throne. There is no need for violence.
I told you not to speak of that again.
But you did not tell me to forget. The time to reckon with your lineage draws near. You must make a...
I've heard enough. Leave me.
Just know that I will do anything you ask of me, Lord Serenoa. I pray that you make the right choice, not only for House Wolfort, but for yourself.
So apparently Benedict was named in honor of Benedict Arnold.
faced a decision, lad?
Alas, no. I know not which is the righteous path.
You know I'll follow you down whatever path you choose. We'll fight who we have to fight, together. And as long as it's just a single battle ahead of us, we gotta win in strategy. If we lure the enemy here, that is.
What do you mean?
This village has a deadly secret, lad, for times such as this. You see the aqueducts all around, don't you? They can be filled with oil just as well as water. We can lure the enemy in, trap them, and then set whole plots ablaze.
How terrible. To think such a death trap lay hidden in plain sight.
I only found out from Benedict the other day myself. All you need to do is hit one of the hawk statuettes. That'll spring a fence up around the area and set the oil alight. The fence will keep them in, and the fire will do them in.
And take part of the village with it. Truly a last resort.
Aye. And I understand why your father and Benedict chose to keep it from you. But I'm not telling you just for your edification. If you think it necessary, don't hesitate to use it.
Thank you, Ardor. I shall take your words to heart, though I pray I never need to act upon them.
I'm editing out when I dipped into the encampment just to make sure there was no mental battle. So here is the final choice of the game, where you have to choose between the 3 routes. So as I was saying right at the very beginning of the whole triple monologue part, the whole Roland thing is really out of nowhere. Like, there's not enough scenes with him to see this kind of development. It literally comes out of left field. And a lot of people online make fun of this game because of him right there. Like, it's not developed, and that's basically my main complaint with the game as a whole. There's quite a few ideas here. With a little bit of refinement it could be significantly better, but they've kind of rushed the game, I think. Its main selling point is going to be the voice acting, just that there's so much of it. A lot of it needless, unfortunately, because some of these things shouldn't be told as a form in a blurb, but as an actual battle. And a lot of stuff is recycled. There's not a lot of enemy variety, and they reuse the same maps over and over. So, like, I wouldn't recommend getting the game at full price, but it's probably still a decent pickup to have in a Switch collection. Anyway, Castle Wolford. Once again, House Wolford stands before 3 diverging paths. The time has come to lay their convictions bare before the scales and make their greatest decision yet. And you're at the turning point, recommending you save your current progress. So we'll go ahead and drop a save here, even though I already decided what I'm going to do. Basically, I've been trying to stick it to the Roselle the entire time I've been playing the game, if people have noticed. So we're going to give them one final shaft, and we'll try to do them better next time around.
You are certain Hyzan's army marches for the Grand Norzelian mines?
There is no doubt.
They've heard word of the crystals.
It was only a matter of time. We knew this.
Esfrost's army gathers at Twinsgate as well.
War's breaking out over this thing, and we've got to be ready.
How will Glenbrook respond, King Roland?
There's no need to prepare for war. I have decided that we will surrender the salt crystals to the holy state of Hyzant.
What?
Furthermore, I hereby declare that the kingdom of Glenbrook and its people shall submit to the goddess and her teachings. There is no way to bring happiness to all Norzelia with the salt crystals. Which is why I have chosen a path that will allow the greatest number of people to live in equality and harmony.
How could you? Do you not see that Hyzant's dominion over Norzelia's salt is why we are in conflict already? Is the suffering of the Roselle not proof enough that the goddess's vaunted equality is a lie?
She speaks the truth, my king. Handing over the salt crystals is tantamount to giving Hyzant's goddess free reign of Norzelia. will you so readily surrender the realm to the Hierophant?
I acknowledge the abdication of my kingdom and kingship alike. A small price to pay in my eyes, in exchange for the security and prosperity of the many.
And the sacrifice of the Roselle, is that a small price to you?
It is.
How could you say such a thing to my face?
I, for one, oppose. I would prefer to ally with Esfrost and strike back at Hyzant. The salt deposits within the mines give us the leverage we need to convince Gustadolf to join us.
Ally with Esfrost? You dare suggest we ally with the man who murdered my father?
I see no reason why we should not. You proposed abdicating the throne for the sake of the kingdom and its people. So you should have no trouble putting aside your own feelings and judging this matter dispassionately.
I cannot believe my own ears. I will not have you lecture me on feelings when it is not your father he murdered.
None of you can see beyond your own grievances. It's no wonder my people have suffered for generations. We're told to believe in the goddess, while our own lives are thrown away to make a few more grains of your precious salt. And now, even with proof that the goddess is a lie, you would watch us dig our own graves for your comfort.
Lady Frederica, please. We shall speak of the Roselle in due time.
No, I've heard that before. Your due time is never, and I will not have you cast us aside for another 3 decades or more. All else is in disarray. If Hyzant seizes the salt crystals, we forfeit the best opportunity in decades to free my people. We know the truth. We must act upon it. We must be a light in the darkness.
We cannot afford to dilute our forces when the enemy marches on us as we speak.
So we are a distraction to you?
I am merely being rational. Liberating the Roselle would be extremely dangerous. We cannot take such a risk. Suppose we succeed. How do you propose we fend off the fury Hyzant will rain down upon us?
Esfrost would pounce on us, sensing weakness at the undue burden we've taken upon ourselves.
Precisely. We would be without allies and ripe for the taking.
There is another way.
And what, pray tell, would that be?
We set out alongside the Roselle in search of Centralia.
Centralia is a myth.
The legends of my people are true.
I care not one whit if they are. I will hear no talk of forsaking the Wolfort domain.
Silence! I have heard enough to know where each of you stand. Do you all hold the courage of your own convictions?
I do.
Nothing I've heard here has swayed me.
I feel the same.
Very well. But know that a choice must be made. There can only be one way forward. Face the scales of conviction and prepare to make peace with the outcome.
The whole scale thing is kind of stupid too. Just make proper routes, man. The vote we take today may well open a rift between us. Nevertheless, I must proceed and I am prepared to accept its outcome. Wow. Okay. Just let me out now, man. To think King Roland, Lady Frederica, and Sir Benedict's convictions would diverge so greatly after all this time. Just between you and me, Lord Sereno, what do you make of their plans? So I believe that Benedict's plans to use Esfrost's ideals of freedom to ascend to the top of all Norzelia. Or, I think Roland intends to put his personal feelings aside to bring peace and equality to everyone. And finally, Frederica's wish is a human one. She desires to liberate those who have been cruelly oppressed. So yeah, if I stuck with my whole liberation thing from earlier, we'd definitely be siding with Frederica, but we get a spiffy white uniform as being one of the Saintly Seven. How can you resist that? Even so, could that not be accomplished by his powers as king alone? Even if it were for the sake of the people, I think offering up the kingdom itself to be too great a price to pay. Between his duties as king, his own abilities, and indelible grudges, Roland has long struggled to find balance between his ideals and reality. And at the end of all his deliberation, he has decided that our kingdom is a befitting price to pay for a divine boon. Everyone's choices are deeply rooted in their convictions. It makes me wonder if they'll be able to abide by the Scale's decisions. Lord Sereno, it will fall to you to lead everyone down the right path. Of course, I wish for all of us to walk astride the same path as we always have. Lord Sereno, I cannot but feel that our greatest battle lies ahead, regardless of which path you choose. I know this may not be the best time to say so, but my wife gave birth to her first child not a few days ago. So the three choices are: you are a father before a soldier, as your duty to protect your own house before that of Wolfort. Or, I will not force you to march with us. I ask that you only act according to your own convictions. And finally, you must pull together if we are to emerge victorious. I ask that you see us through this final battle. I forgot which of the three stats were actually the least valuable. Like, they're not actually equal, believe it or not. Which you could argue is yet another fault of the game. So I'm trying to pull that up real quick. So Liberty is one of the ones you need high. That's interesting. Utility is one that you need sky high, and the other one's Liberty. Ah, no, there's one for each of them, actually. In case you're wondering, I'm looking at Decimal, Giovanna, and Quahog. And they each require, like, max points. So yeah, you do you, bro. Might I have time to think about it, my lord? But of course, the path before me diverges as well, and I must also take time to think before making a decision. Let us both choose a path that leaves us with no regrets. Thank you, Lord Sereno. It's an honor to call you my lord. By the way, those three names I just mentioned, you probably do have to get them on New Game Plus, unless you specifically choose all choices just for one of those three. So, for these three, I think it's Frederica's Liberty, Roland is Morality, and Benedict is Utility. Anyway, let's talk to the three before we start persuading.
Serenoa.
Only we can free the Roselle and expose the lie that has kept them in bondage these many years. However, we must move quickly while their gaze is fixed upon the salt crystals. I believe we can succeed. I hear your plea, yet I cannot help but wonder if you wish to act with too much haste.
But...
I know not what I can do to prove to you that I have thought this through. I swear to you this is no fit of pique. Benedict's stratagem may also provide the chance to strike at Hyzant. Would that not be enough? It also prolongs this war and thus the immense suffering of my people. Even if we do prevail, you know as well as I that my brother is not a merciful man. He'll not spare so much as a thought for the weak. That much is true. The Roselle's plight would then be buried once more amid negotiations between the nations. Do you see? The time is now, and only we have the power to save them. Power we forfeit if we assent to Roland's plan.
I have decided.
His is the one vision for our future that I cannot abide. Perhaps my concerns seem narrow when all Norzelia is at stake, but I know you can save my brothers and sisters. I beg you consider it. Your words have no power here. So if we go with Roland, I guess we lose her, but we keep Benedict. If we go with Roland, or if we go with her, maybe we get Roland but lose Benedict, and Benedict would keep her but lose Roland?
Serenoa.
We must give Hyzant the salt crystal. Yeah, that would make sense because Roland would have no part of Esfrost, so he'd rather go with Frederica, I imagine. We must give Hyzant the salt crystals, cow Esfrost, and unite all Norzelia in the name of the goddess, else we will never know peace. The Roselle will continue to suffer, 'tis true, but this will end war as we know it, and countless more will live in peace as equals.
I have made my decision.
I will see this done not just for the people of Glenbrook, but for all Norzelia. Roland, you are the king. Surely cooperation with Hyzant need not mean forfeit of the kingdom.
I think not.
That is where you are wrong, my friend. My time on the throne has shown me that the people need a force more powerful than any king to show them the way. There are many paths that lead us out of war, Roland. Cooperating with Esfrost, for instance. End the war by allying with the very Archduke who set this in motion? No, cooperating with that tyrant ends nothing. His avarice has only brought pain and suffering to this land.
Moreover...
If anyone understood the torturous path I've taken to arrive at this decision, I thought it would be you, Serenoa. Yeah, we still have no power.
My lord.
We share a common goal with Ezfrost at the moment. It is incumbent upon us to seize that opportunity and rid Norzelia of Hyzan for good. So yeah, Benedict refuses to leave the domain, I bet. Indeed, the Self Crystals make an alliance with Ezfrost possible, but Roland would never assent to it. He feels the weight of the crown underestimates his own abilities and allowed his hatred for Gustaf to cloud his judgment. I sympathize, but those matters should have no bearing on the welfare of our house. Perhaps you are right, but then what of Frederica's vision? Do you concede that her plan concerns our house?
Quite impossible.
I concede nothing, for her strategy is out of the question. She asks us to forfeit all we have fought to build in this domain. How can I reasonably entertain such a proposition? And you'll brook no argument otherwise? None.
We must decide.
May I remind you that you are Lord of House Wolfort. Your duty is to your people above all else.
I believe I've reached a decision.
This moment requires a dispassionate mind. I pray you have one. Okay, Anna, you're first.
Lord Serenoa.
Benedict and King Roland would march us to war. Frederica would see Hyzan hunt us for all eternity. Perhaps her vision is not so different. So it's come to this. Ally with a one-time opponent or flee with Roselle.
However...
Bold proposals all. Our tactics must be flawless. So she's heavy in Benedict's favor, I imagine. I stand with Roland. Tell me one thing, my lord. King Roland aims to unify Glenbrook with promises of peace for the masses. Peace he will achieve by submitting to Hyzan and destroying Ezfrost. How do you find his proposal? You said it yourself, unifying or strategically sound. The time to topple Ezfrost is now. So she was talking about strategy. We'll try that.
In that case...
Agreed, and with the Salt Crystals in our possession, there may be no better opportunity. Waiting only gives them more time to prepare the death knell. Though, do you not wonder if this is merely King Roland enacting revenge? I take him at his word when he says he wants happiness for the masses. Though I am sure a hatred for Gustaf still burns deep within his breast.
Then?
As is fitting, his majesty is only human after all. Thank you, I appreciate your honesty. I pray that you do not err in the execution of your grand strategy.
Aye, lad.
Our sweat and bloods fed this land, built it into a proper domain. I see no reason why we should surrender it all to Hyzant. And Lady Frederica, while I sympathize, asks that we risk everything for the sake of the Roselle.
Here's what I think.
Benedict's got the right of it, I reckon, but even that doesn't quite quiet the nagging feeling I get every time I think about our options. Or it doesn't quite quiet. Still, you shouldn't... I don't think you'd probably need both of those there. So, 3 choices. He'll listen to Frederica. So, he actually will side with Roland. Ye agree with King Roland? What are you thinking, lad? Gustaf has taken too much from all of us. His greed cannot continue unchecked. Or Roland nearly tore himself apart to arrive at this destination. I stand with my dear friend. Let's point out that Gustaf is taking stuff because he seems like Eredor is a defender. Apparently not. You'll hear no argument from me. Gustaf's a lousy cur. I haven't forgotten all the blood he spilled. King Regna, the Crown Prince, to say nothing of taking the Crown City from us. He set this painful chapter into motion. I reckon he's what pushed King Roland to want to ally with Hyzant. Had to sneeze there. He had his reasons, ending Hyzant's salt monopoly and espousing freedom among them. But he has disturbed the peace of Glenbrook, indeed all Norzelia, for far too long. So it's revenge you're after.
And so...
Why didn't you say we were carrying out the royal family's revenge from the start? That much I can understand. And I'm sure you'll see it done, if it's the last thing you do as lord of a high house.
However...
Here we stand after a bitter fight to reclaim the crown city, only for the king to speak of forsaking it. As his subject, it is my duty to follow his decree, and yet... My lord, the choice before us feels immense. I am utterly adrift. Pray tell me how you see the proposals from King Roland and the others. I need your guidance. So, this should be easy, I hope. So you've cast your lot with King Roland. Are you certain the surrender of the kingdom is the answer? So the 2 choices are, Hyzant is a formidable nation with both Elfric and the gods to shield at their disposal. We can ill afford to make an enemy of them. Or Roland is prepared to give the throne in order to protect his people, and we should honor his resolve. She's like Roland's biggest fangirl, so I'm going with this one.
No.
I have no intention of doing otherwise. I stand by my king as I always have. He's done so much. He fought with every last fiber of his being to drive Ezfrost from our shores and reclaim the throne. He then saved Cordelia from their clutches, but now he'll surrender us all to the Hierophant, and for what? I'm sorry, Hewitt.
However...
My head follows his logic, but my heart cannot. Suppose we do submit to Hyzant, my lord. What becomes of us? So the two choices are, Esfrost, starved of salt, will be forced to sue for peace. We will have the chance to avert war. Or, I expect Hyzant will employ us as the first line of attack against Esfrost in order to the fight to unify Norzelia. And we'll be honest with her.
In which case...
Yes, I imagine you're right. We would be tasked with breaking their ranks, that Hyzant might strike Esfrost down. Is it not enough that we lay the kingdom at their feet? Must we also give our lives for Hyzant? Not for Hyzant, Hewitt, for Norzelia. Roland wishes to unite the kingdom under the goddess, though he may save countless lives and bring peace to these lands. I see the wisdom in his vision and offer my sword in the fight for Norzelia's people. For Norzelia's people. Very well, you are both enamored with the grand vision of the future.
Then...
Perhaps it is time I took a broader view myself. She's indifferent. Okay, we need to give her the rigged coin.
What do you need?
Each path before us demands a great sacrifice in exchange for a great reward. I am sure King Roland, Benedict, and Frederica have agonized over the proposals.
Well...
So now we must agonize over our own decisions. So she seems to be like less in Frederica's favor than the others? I stand with Roland. So you agree with King Roland? After we fought so bitterly to reclaim that which is ours, what leads you to give it away so freely? While I understand that it must have taken tremendous resolve to forfeit the kingdom for the sake of the people, it lays one thing quite bare, which is that King Roland's hatred for Esfrost runs quite deep, too deep perhaps. So pray tell, what persuaded you to take his side? The two choices are, he speaks truth, equality under the gods is more stable than Esfrost's insistence that we fight for scraps, or, we know too little about the Death Knell's true power, it would be unwise to fight a battle in which we rely on the unknown. I think the top one might speak more to her.
I wonder about that.
Yes, stability and equality are very comforting words, but we know the true cost of those words in the Holy State. But I see no other way of obtaining either that would prove as enduring. You acknowledge that surrounding Glenbrook and the Salt Crystals will render them the most powerful in all Norzelia, yes?
Well...
Which is to say you acknowledge your actions will condemn Roselle to an eternity of oppression and exploitation. Yes, it is a trade I'm willing to make for the peace and security of so many more. So say the numbers, yes, but Frederica and the Roselle will find that to be cold comfort. What then will you do once we submit to Hyzant's rule? So the two choices are, defeat Esfrost and unite Norzelia in the name of the goddess, or work to change the Holy State from within. This is the only way you're going to get her to budge. In your capacity as one of the Saintly Seven? Exactly so. I believe I can change the way they treat the Roselle.
I wonder about that.
I fear your vision is rather fanciful, my lord. You are but one of them. They need only cast you out to be rid of your trifling rebellion. I see no logic in handing them more power and expecting them to change their ways. Indeed, such a plot will also go against Roland's desire to save Norzelia through the goddess's teachings.
But...
I know you're doing this for Frederica. 'Tis noble of you, and I commend you for it. But you cannot satisfy her and King Roland both. You must choose between them. So I guess you have to completely sell out Frederica to get her to change?
It is time to cast our votes. The opinions before us are many. Roland's, Frederica's, Benedict's. Which to choose? Approach the scales of conviction with your token at the ready.
You aren't wrong, but...
My apologies, Lord Sereno, but I must place my token elsewhere.
You have my vote.
I put my faith in you, Lord Serenoa.
I have faith in you.
I decide that this is what's best for both King Roland and us all, so that means Roland wins. My mind's all made up. You got my vote, lad. So I think it's 1 for Benedict, 2 for Frederica, and 4 for Roland.
The scales of conviction will illuminate the path we've chosen.
Is it a yellow flame? Whoa. Gila went with Benedict? What? Wow, poor Frederica. You might want to leave. You're all on your own here.
The way forward is decided. We will stand by Roland, bend the knee to Hyzant, and unify Norzelia.
If griefs could passions move completed. So yes, Frederica will now be gone until we get to New Game Plus, and I don't know if Gila sticks around. If not, we have Medina. Anyway, that's it for now, folks. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.